How did I come to choose Appalachian State? That's a long story. Appalachian State wasn't even on my radar until my senior year. I'm like, they send a lot of guys to the NFL. It's a great degree, and they win a ton of games. And I'm like, man, I need to go to this school. So I sent them a copy of my highlight tape and everything that I've been doing off the field. Coach Sloan would call me every week and let me know that I was still on their radar. But he called me maybe 3 days before signing day and let me know that he was going to be able to offer me a scholarship. Signed that letter of intent, and the rest is history. My parents really enjoyed my time there, and they had a great experience, and so did I. Yeah, my life being a student at App, I loved it. That was one of the greatest 4 or 5 years of my life. My best year was my freshman year because everything was new, and just being on the same hallway as all your teammates was a pretty cool experience. So another reason why App State is so special to me is because it's the place that I met my wife. Staying at Justice Hall, she played softball and she stayed on the first floor and I stayed on the fourth floor. And we both are very thankful for our time at Appalachian State and our experiences because they really made us the person that we are today, and has really helped us achieve the success that we have. App State to me is the greatest football program, the greatest school on earth. You're playing at elevation of 3,333 feet. The noise sounds different. The air feels different. And, I can just remember my first time playing in the Rock against A&T and having a 97-yard interception return for a touchdown. And I remember Coach Moore talking to me after my interception, him telling me that, hey, if I keep making plays like that, I was going to have a shot to play on Sundays. And that was one of the first people that put that dream in my mind and my heart. And I always remember him for that. So my career path after graduation, the first thing that I did, I finished up my senior year. After I graduated, I went back and started my first year with my master's in public administration. After that, I knew that I wanted to have a shot at being able to play at the next level in the NFL, and I started to really lock my eyes on that in my senior year, and I wanted to do everything that I could to make sure that, our team finished out on top. We finished that year 11-2, won the first bowl game in school history, the Camellia Bowl. And then after that, I hired an agent, and I decided that, making that next step to the NFL was my dream. And I had the chance to have an opportunity with the New York Jets, signed as an undrafted free agent, which was my dream team growing up. I was a huge fan of Darrelle Revis. And so I spent 3 years there. It was a lot of good times being able to start on Monday Night Football, start on Thursday Night Football. And right after that, I spent some time with the Dolphins, ended up landing with the Jaguars in 2019 and 2020, and then finished up last year in 2021 with the San Francisco 49ers. During my time there, in 2017, I lost my best friend to suicide, A.J. Morrison. This was a person that I grew up on the same street with since the age of 6. We shared a lot of firsts together, went to high school together, and we couldn't find the right resources for him. And 2 years after he was suffering, he ended up losing his life to suicide. And so at that moment, I knew I had to do something. I just didn't know what it was. So I started Googling around and just looking for things that I could do to make remembrance of my best friend. And I found this organization called NAMI, and it stands for the National Alliance of Mental Illness. And I knew that I was back and forth at school, going up to Boone during that time. And I was able to meet with some people that were, the head of NAMI, High Country. And when I went up there and told them my story and what I had going on with football and mental health, they told me that I could really be a big ambassador for mental health. So I started my foundation, Dreaming the Impossible, a few months later. Our student athletes go through so much, and our youth go through so much. There's a mental health crisis within our youth in this country right now. Coming out of this pandemic, a lot of them, their development has been hindered. The way that they communicate is different. They have a thing called social media, which is one of the toughest things to deal with. When you wake up every day and you put your life in comparison to other people's highlight reel. And that's why I think it's very important that we teach all of our student athletes, mental health education, mental health awareness, and because they all struggle, we all struggle. To be able to get to the top, you're gonna spend a lot of time alone. And what you do with that time alone is what defines you. So, that's why Dream the Impossible is so important and special to me, because I want to be able to bring the resources to these kids that I didn't have.
Foundation Dreaming Impossible, we're gonna break it down on dreamers, man. Everybody out here got a dream, everybody got a goal, everybody got something they trying to get to. So let's break it down on dreamers. Dreamers on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dreamers!
So what does winning this award mean to me? It means a lot, because this is confirmation that me in my life and my journey and my career, putting value in my life outside of football was the right thing to do. And I see the faces every day when I work with those youth. But to be able to be respected by a school that means so much to me, in a school that seemed like a far-off dream and something that I wouldn't never even be able to attend, and now to be honored by that school, it means a lot to me. And to be honest, when I first started to do things outside of football, a lot of people would come up to me and say that, I just needed to focus on my career, and I need to spend more time just playing football. But I knew, when I got that opportunity to even make it to the NFL, I knew there was a goal and a dream that I had been dreaming for a long time, but I knew that it wouldn't last the rest of my life. And so to be able to have this platform and be able to, show people that anything is possible, anything that you put in your heart is possible, and that you don't have to just be an athlete, you could be more than an athlete. That's what this award means to me.